Alrighty, so section 2, week 2 in CIT48A IT fundamentals in the cybersecurity program. Actually, we're on day 3 of the semester. So, what's cool for me is I've already gotten to meet some of you. And when I say meet, I mean virtually, which is, and I know the whole video thing can be kind of intimidating, right? Trust me, I do video a lot and it's still a little intimidating. So, before I get into a review of this week's content, a couple of things I want to say. One is about focus and where it comes from or how it can be enhanced. I mean, we live in a world that has so many distractions in our lives, and what you're endeavoring in this class is to really level up your fundamental IT skills. Remember that this course doesn't, we have a section for cybersecurity, but really it's focused on those fundamental IT skills or knowledge, right? I wouldn't call them skills. Really, I would say this: it's like you're going to get introduced to these concepts, and then as you grow and learn, because obviously from watching the video, you will see you all come from different experience levels, which is just the way life is. And even if you're professionally, you're out there doing it, which we have some of these, and or even if you're the student new coming in, like this is completely new to you, you're switching careers from somewhere else, because I've heard both of those cases when watching the videos so far. So whichever pathway, right, you're in, this is a good place to start. So I'm glad you're here. So what about focus? So I can just tell you my experience. Like I come from my focus, my general, and I shouldn't say focus in that case, but my general expertise is in programming. Like I'm not, cybersecurity is relatively new. I'm teaching in this program because of my background, and I'm actually actively teaching in the web development program, which I would say, if you want to know about that program, I'd love to chat with you about that, because one of the things that you're going to see this week is a video that will talk about having some programming experience. But the thing I'd like to say about focus, I keep getting back to, see, even I have a problem with focus. So what do I know from my own experience is that if I eat well, if I sleep well, and if I move well, right? If I generally do those three things in whatever combination my life allows, I my focus is generally pretty good. It's not perfect, and there are definitely things that I do, to those things that I do help me, no doubt. And when I don't do those things, it really affects me. Like if I don't get my normal amount of sleep, if I eat something off of my dietary program, like those things can really throw my schedule. But the key for me is as soon as it happens, I get back on track. So, whatever it takes for you, and what I would suggest is figuring that out, the sooner the better, just in your life in general, is what that looks like. And you might wonder, this is a tech class. Why are we talking about focus? Because what you are intending to do in this class is level up. And in order to level up, you need to have a certain amount of focus to gain these concepts. And again, take it to the next level. Okay. So this week we have some new content that I have served up for this class. I've changed two aspects about this class I'll go over in a second. One is the discussion that you're going to do, and the second one you were already introduced to last week, which was the option of, instead of writing a traditional essay, which at this point, I haven't seen enough people submit which option they're choosing to say anything about that. But I am going to show you some things I've thought about, and already some feedback from one student who has thought about the Darknet Diaries. This will also be, you'll see this before you probably see this video, because remember, this course is set up to move through sequentially. Remember, this is a 9-week course, okay? And so it moves, the pace is quick. So staying up to task is quick, and knowing that, like the way I take attendance is, did you do whatever discussion, did you do your post by, Wednesday or Thursday morning, really, for me. So tomorrow morning will be the first day I will go in, and based on who's posted, in this case the video, I will have an item in the grade book that shows if you were present or not. Okay, and that's how I just have to report to the campus. So I just wanted you to know. Okay, so let's actually move over to the course and get rid of my video here. So this week, the discussion, now there's a few more quizzes this week. Okay. So before I jump into the discussion, but like last time, you have your, and this is application software, such an important topic, and this is many different aspects of business productivity, right? Software usage, web stuff, right? Web browser, and then here is the quiz based on that PDF, like I showed you last week, if you remember. So the two items I really want to focus on is actually this new content. So for this one, and then I talk about this in here, right? So what this is the most common question I get in a class like this. It's like what jobs, what's the path, right? So obviously being in this program is part of what you're hoping to walk into some kind of career. The truth is there's just so many different, it's not just one job. There's many different jobs related to cybersecurity or specifically, either IT. Because I've noticed some of you are talking about just getting into IT here. So I found this video, and this is the other thing that's really kind of interesting these days, right? Is that, and this is a really current video, like for the time I'm posting it 6 days ago. So I love, and some people don't, but I love the YouTube algorithm, so that what I look for, it gives me newer content. And in this case, I've watched Network Chuck before, and I kind of enjoy his content, but I really enjoyed this one because he really talks about this path forward, these certifications, the jobs that are in there, the way to approach it. I just think this is such a matter of fact. If you're I think many of you, most of you are taking 48B. Vern Farley and I have been talking about. I think he's also going to use this video in his class. It doesn't completely align with where we're at. As a matter of fact, his first stop is the certification A plus. But regardless, I think it's a good introduction because it's very common on YouTube to have people do this at the beginning of the year, like a roadmap. But some of them are definitely more better produced than others, and I think Network Chuck is one of them. Okay, so here's what you need to do, and I really recommend, and I hope this shouldn't be a burden, even though it's 20 minutes. And by the way, if you don't know, you should know. You can come in here and you can increase the speed, the playback speed. I typically do that if I'm just trying to find something in a video. And the other thing is you can also, there's an index. Let's see, where's his index in here? Part 6. He's got that. So it's broken into chapters, so you can see here which chapters they are. This is a new thing that YouTube is doing as well. But I definitely recommend you watch the whole thing all the way to the end. Okay. And then when you do that, is I want you to write your thoughts on what was covered in this video, right? And make sure you take the practice exam. It's okay if you get it wrong. It's okay. It's just an idea, and this is an A plus, just a couple of practice exam questions. And again, because in life we often are pre-learning something, and in this case, you might be pre-learning some of that stuff. Right. Then read at least two of your fellow student posts and your fellow students post, and write a thoughtful comment about what they shared. So here's the thing I want you to know about replies, right? I've kicked the replies from 3, which was kind of what the course was set up, because this is only the second semester I've taught this course, but I think 2 is enough. But I want them to be substantive. I don't, I want you to really read what your fellow students write. And like I said before, this is your attendance, so make sure you get them done by Wednesday. The other reason you want to get this done by Wednesday, in addition to attendance, is that you want to give your fellow students a little time to absorb this content. And when people wait to post their main post and replies, it just makes it a little more challenging. Okay, so that's the discussion this week. And then the other thing, and again, this is nothing really new here, as well. It is new content, but the way it's structured is the same as what you've seen before. But I want to take a minute just to talk about the two options for writing, because last week you all chose one. You either chose the essay path or you chose the dark net path. And like I said before, I've only had one student submit this, so I know I at least have one student doing the dark net. But I do want to say a couple things just to be completely open and honest. Is like one of the things, and I said this last week about not using GPT. If you know about Chat GPT, which is an online site that can basically write essays for you, that's not the idea of an assignment like this. I want to know that you know this, not that you couldn't go interact and learn something about your topic. Okay. And the other thing I use Turnitin, and actually I'm going to use Turnitin for both of these, because this week for your essay you're going to do an outline. Oh, sorry, this week you're going to do a rough draft. Okay, so this is you're taking the formatting. You did the outline last week. This week you're writing the draft. And then this gives you what you're doing week by week. And again, I said, if you remember, for the Darknet diaries, I don't have week by week yet, but in general, it'll be similar to what we're doing on the other side, meaning on the essay side. We'll both be doing a presentation. I want you to know that. And the one thing about the Darknet diaries, I previewed this last week, is I want you to listen to the entire video, write what you feel you learned, or what you feel is important to understand about the content. And you've heard me talk a bit about why I find those so helpful for myself, and I think for anyone going into this industry. And then I kind of phrased this when I originally said it as two different different writing, but you could actually integrate these two together, which was my comment here. You could, in your writing, also link to terms, right? So where on an essay you would have sources, I want you to take the writing and the things that you're learning in these videos, because you have 5 videos that you selected last week. This week you'll take your first one and do the writing assignment. That'll be in the writing part of this. And then you'll want to link to external sources. And I say a minimum of 7. Wikipedia is probably going to be a very common one, but trust me, and you will find other sites that give further explanation on terms that you're learning. And the other thing is just learning to validate good sites, right? So we could definitely talk about that. But for this first draft, I'm not going to go into that in too much detail. And this is what I was saying about combining these. And I would want to see at least 2 solidly formed paragraphs, if not 3 here. And I don't want to give writing length requirements, because I think that's just too much. But anyway, so you will follow the format that we have up here. And on both of these, you're going to create a PDF format. So if you're using Google Docs, if you're using locally installed Word, even if you're using the web based version of Word, you can do print to PDF, and then you'll submit that here. So this is remember, on this kind of assignment, when you have an assignment, this is between you and I, and the next week you'll end up sharing that. Okay, last thing I want to say, I just want to go over, because I did take a few notes of things I wanted to make sure I covered this week. And I think I've covered most of them. So let's just see. I went over this week's work. Yeah, focus, focus, focus. I almost want to say hocus pocus, but it's not funny. Well, it is, maybe. Presentation, I said. So like you're doing a presentation, you just did a presentation for week 1. Now, what I want you to know is you will have one at the end of this class that covers your essay and or your Darknet diaries, where you're going to go over that. Okay, I talked about attendance already. Oh yeah, so I want to talk about this. 2 things I forgot. One is that, and this is important, because you're going to end up sharing various things when you're in the discussion boards. And one of the things you want to make sure is that you've set the shareable option so that we can all see it. Okay. And this came up more for the OneDrive or the SharePoint for your campus email. But here's one thing you can do when you have your link. And I'm going to show this in Chrome, but I believe all other browsers have it. There's something called an incognito window. So the reason this is important is if I paste a URL into an incognito window, it'll actually show me what it looks like from the just general web perspective, and not how I'm authenticated into the website, right? So like, as an example, over on this browser tab, I'm logged into Canvas, I'm logged into my Gmail. So if somebody gave me a link, right? If I have to be authenticated, or if I was posting a link and I wanted to see if it was shared completely, looking at it and here wouldn't help me that. looking at that URL in this incognito tab would. So just get used to doing that because I think that caught about 5 or 6 of you so far with the video. Okay, last thing I will say as a way to also promote the Discord. Like many of you, I don't know how many, I'm guessing at this point 10 or 15 of you have joined Discord. I hope more of you consider joining because here's the reality of our lives, right? Is that we have different schedules. And I'm a day person. I'm really or the early morning, get up, work out, do my thing, grade, do content, and then I'm generally not around as far as available in the early to late, and for sure in the late evening I'm not. Now, this at the beginning of the semester, I typically try to be a little more weekend or later available just because I don't want to be the reason. I don't want us to be the reason you're not able to do something, but I just want you to know going forward, part of the reason, and this is totally self serving, I'm being completely honest here, part of the reason I do Discord is for you, but it's also for me because I feel bad when I wake up in the morning and there's something students needed and prevented them from working. But that's also on you, right? It's also on me to provide content that you can work on. But often there'll be somebody, and this is why I'm encouraging more of you to join Discord, is that there may be somebody that's already done that assignment or has some insight for you and you can ask them in real time out on Discord. So, and Discord is just a great way to network with people, which is another reason I heard several of you in your videos talk about being able to connect with folks. Okay, enough or long enough video from me. Have a great one. And next week, I will talk about programming, my favorite topic.